One more thing I want to show you guys today. I decided to record my first ever PvP battle with Pokemon Sword, a battle with my friend Nick. I've mentioned him in the Let's Play before. He's the same guy who traded me the Galarian Ponyta that became Mystic Dawn. I didn't actually record any audio with the recording of the battle, though, so this voiceover is being created after the fact, and also keep in mind that this was recorded before anything else you saw in this video. The battle starts up with the greatest track in the game, of course. I gotta say, I really like how my friend did up his character. Very cool looking. Very nice shades of green there. He starts out with his Dreadnought. I start out with my Orbeetle Nerd, which is a very bad matchup because Dreadnought's a rock type which can learn dark moves. And my friend decides that he's going to say, screw saving Dynamax for your last guy. And he Gigantamaxes his Dreadnought, which is not good because now Dreadnought is a freaking tank. Boom, giant turtle. Thankfully, though, my Orbeetle is significantly faster. I go for Confuse Ray, which does not guarantee that I'm going to live his next couple attacks. Though I do get fantastic confusion luck, and he actually hurts himself in confusion, giving me time to set up my Reflect, which is fantastic because Dreadnought is a physical attacker, and therefore all of his max moves will be physical as well. He manages not to hit himself in confusion the next time, hitting me with a Max Darkness, which is a very cool looking move, by the way, though I hardly take any damage at all. So I start attacking back with Psychic, hoping to get those special defense decreases, though, at least as far as I recall, I don't think I did. Psychic doesn't do a lot, but I'm at least chipping him down. That's what's important. I want to stall out this Dynamax without losing this Pokemon if possible. He at this point snaps out of confusion, but I still don't take a lot of damage because Reflect is still up. Even though my special defense went down, he's using physical attacks, so it doesn't matter. And then his Dynamax ends, and I'm able to get Confuse Ray on him again. And, as you're going to see in a second, I get fantastic confusion luck again, and he actually hits himself confusion again. Like, watch this, seriously. Boom, smacks himself right in the face. Like, I can't believe it, I never get this lucky with confusion. I still don't expect to knock the Dreadnought out with my Orbeetle, but hey, I might as well keep fighting, right? And now Psychic does a lot more damage. And look, he gets hit in confusion again, and I'm actually able to finish it off with a Bug Buzz. I didn't need to use Bug Buzz, but you guys know that I like to vary my attacks. And Dreadnought goes down. That could have gone very, very differently and started this battle off with me at a severe disadvantage, but my Orbeetle's still out. Reflect is still up thanks to my Light Clay, and I'm going to be able to do some work against his next Pokemon too. He decides to go with his starter, which is named for the Steven Universe character Spinel, and I try to confuse it, but it bounces up into the air and dodges my Confuse Ray, at which point I decide I want to at least try to do some damage to this thing before my Reflect runs out. And so I go for Psychic instead of Confuse Ray again, which I probably should have gone for Confuse Ray, because I end up living this bounce somehow. But I do get a little bit of damage off on his Pokemon at the very least, even though I'm paralyzed now, so Nerd's just done at this point. There's literally nothing I can do. It doesn't matter. And after I consider what I'm going to do here, I even consider switching out at one point, I recall. He just finishes me off with a Pyro Ball, which is a very cool looking attack. I like it a lot. They really did a good job, I think, with the starters' signature moves in this game. If nothing else, I think you have to give the game that. So I go into Bacon next, because my Bacon has Flash Fire, and that at least shuts down one of his moves. Yes, I know he has Bounce, But I have a plan for that. I think I can probably switch into Unkindness, my Corviknight, in case you guys forgot, and tank a bounce, and hopefully also a Pyro Ball. But we'll see what ended up happening with that in a minute. I go for Leech Life, and after he misses a Mega Kick, do some damage, not a lot. Though I honestly didn't expect to use Bacon to fight him, though. I was just expecting to kind of bait him with Bacon, so I did about as much damage as I expected to. And then when he goes for Bounce, I go to switch into Unkindness, but I hesitate here because I always overestimate how bulky Unkindness is. So I don't know that it'll actually live the Pyro Ball, but I switch anyway because I don't want anybody else to take the hit. I don't want Bacon to take the hit, especially. And Unkindness does, at the very least, after setting up pressure, of course, manage to tank the bounce with hardly any damage. I'm like, okay, this might work. Maybe its physical defense is better than I thought. So I go for Drill Peck. Stab, Drill Peck. He outspeeds me and goes for Pyro Ball, though, and just wrecks Unkindness. I'm really disappointed with Corviknight. Guys, the design's fantastic, but it's really not a great Pokemon. So I go back into Bacon because I realize I don't actually want any of these other guys to take any hits yet, if I can help it. And I do have another plan now. His best bet is still going to be to go for Bounce. So I decided to start going for Coils, because Bounce takes a turn to set up, which means I can set up extra Coils. Assuming that he doesn't just stomp me to death with Mega Kick. Though setting up the Coil probably helped him to decide to go into Bounce, since it's super effective and I now have defense up, but that ends up being a mistake, because I do manage to get, I think, 3 full Coils set up. We'll see in a second. I honestly don't remember if I set up 2 or 3. There's the second one. Such a fantastic move. I really like Coil a lot. And I go for Leech Life here. I think I did go for another Coil, though. I might be remembering wrong. I remember wrong a lot. Now that I've set up 2 Coils, Leech Life does more damage, and his starter is almost taken out of the fight this early. Yeah, here's the third Coil, because I'm expecting him to go for another Bounce here. And he does. Again, not to be critical, but it probably would have been a better idea to just go for something else. Because now I have 3 stages of defense, 3 stages of attack, and 3 stages of accuracy, which doesn't really matter, but still. And after tanking this next Bounce, I managed to take out his... what's the name of this Pokemon? Cinderace? Is that what it's called? Cinderace. I managed to take it out with another hit and even restore a few more HP. Well, 1 more HP in the process. And Bacon can still fight, which is fantastic. So far my bugs are doing me real good in this battle. He brings out Sandaconda next. And it actually manages to outspeed me, hitting me with a Glare, which automatically paralyzes Bacon. And with as low as Bacon's health is, even though I have a Power Whip, which, with the Coils powering it up, takes Sandaconda out with a single hit, I'm so weak at this point and so slow that there's nothing I can do to save Bacon. And then Sand Pit activates and the Sandstorm gets kicked up, and so I'm about to take even more damage. Bacon's done. So I keep Bacon out, because it doesn't really matter, and I don't want him sitting there filling up my roster when he can do literally nothing to help me in the future. It's just better at this point to let him get knocked out. And of course the Phalanx comes out, and I try to attack, but he ends up, I think he uses, Rock Slide, and takes Bacon out with a single hit, which, Bacon did great. It's a little bit of a bummer though. Though Phalanx does take the hit from Sandstorm, and I do have Mystic Dawn, who has super effective stab against Phalanx, who isn't the most impressive Pokemon offensively anyway, so I figure I've got this one in the bag. I do a ton of damage, but He had Smart Strike, which I did not expect. I take massive damage too. We both get hit by the Sandstorm again. I'm in better shape. I'm still going to win this fight, but I was honestly hoping that Mystic would carry me through more fights than this, and I'm about to lose her to whatever comes out next. I take another hit there. I'm just above the red at this point. It really sucks. And he brings out Corviknight. And I'm done. I mean, Corviknight's not super fast, and Mystic's fast enough that I do get a hit off with my low kick, which does okay damage, but his Steel Wing still takes me out instantly. So I decide I'm going to go into King Atticus. He's one of my most reliable guys. The Sandstorm's gone, so I don't have to worry about that countering his leftovers, which I still have on him for some reason. And I've got the super effective stab, Thunderfang, that's what it's called, that I can use against Corviknight, and I honestly expect that to take Corviknight out, but it actually doesn't. Corviknight hangs on and hits me with a U-turn, allowing him to switch into his last Pokemon, which I did not expect, because I did not look at his team at the beginning of the battle like I should have, probably, and it's an Appleton, which you're going to see in a second, and I just got to say, I absolutely love Appleton's design. Flapple is very cool, but Appleton is very cool too. It's very cute and a lot smaller than its art makes it look. And I know nothing about this Pokemon. I do know I have Play Rough though, and that Atticus hits pretty hard, so I think I'll be okay. I was wrong though, because Play Rough only does under half damage. Like, it does close to half, but it does under half. And then this Apple Acid thing does a ton of damage to me and cuts my special defense. Like, Leftovers heals me a little bit, but it doesn't matter at this point. I figure I need a crit and or flinch from one of my fangs to beat this thing at this point. So I settle on Fire Fang, trying to get the flinch, or a burn, but a burn wouldn't have really mattered. Or a crit, I guess, with Fire Fang too. Might have done it. It hardly does anything though. I don't get the flinch, and then he eats a citrus berry and just recovers so much health. It's absolutely ridiculous. And then the Apple Acid finishes me off, and his Appleton is still in really good shape, and I'm honestly kind of worried because I only have Dixie left. And, I mean, Grass versus Dragon is not a great matchup, though I still have my Dynamax, and so I go ahead and Dynamax, and I completely forgot that Dragon is not resistant to Bug. So after I Dynamax into, pause for effect, my Giant Monkey, which is not what it sounds like at all, it's that thing right there, I turn my U-turn into Max Flutterby, which is a pretty cool looking attack, all things considered, though it doesn't really go with the whole cool monkey motif, and that just wrecks Appleton, which leaves him with the weakened Corviknight. And Steel versus Grass, well, Steel flying versus Grass especially, isn't a great matchup either. But I'm Dynamaxed, and he has no health left, so this is barely a contest. I take him out with a single Max Knuckle, obviously. And honestly, this was a lot of fun. It was a lot closer than it could have been. Things could have been very different if I hadn't had such easy confusion luck with Nerd, and I ended up enjoying this fight a lot.